And I encourage you all to please use the chat throughout the presentation and the event. My student assistant, Sophia, is going to be monitoring the chat. She's going to be helping with questions or comments. If you just want to put in there even where you're joining us from, that would be wonderful. And I'll let Supriya take it from here.
Hi everyone, I'm Supriya Boba from Andhra Pradesh, India. I'm a graduate student here at USF pursuing my majors in electrical engineering and working as a Global Alumni student assistant for USF World. I feel very happy to be a part of this network launch. And we have been working so long for this event to make this a reality, and finally the day has come, and I'm extremely delightful to introduce our 5 panelists. Nirmita Roy, PhD in Electrical Engineering; Ojas Raval, actor, humorist, youth activist; Pragma Parishar, founder and CEO, Three Fish Consulting; Kumar Ramachandran, Chief Executive, Modular Open Source Identity Platform; Naimish Upadhyay, Deputy General Manager, Sustainability, Tata Group. We are honored to have all of you here, and it would be great if you can share your favorite memory associated with the USF. Thank you.
Oh, Jess, let's start with you. I just want if you could just share a few words about yourself and then share a favorite memory that you had from USF.
Well, good morning to those words, good morning, and good evening to those words, good evening, and a good afternoon to words, good afternoon. And namaskar to everybody who's joining and has joined. I was a student and then thereafter a faculty member at USF. I graduated from in the year 2008, and I went on to teach till about 12. And then I was just shunting back and forth between India and USF. They sent me as the global ambassador to India at that time, and ever since 2005, I've been working with students, parents, and teachers in India, establishing this base for higher education in the US through the Mumbai US consulate. I'm told not to be biased and promote USF, but I do that, and we won't tell anybody. But there's so many memories ever since 2005 up until now. In fact, those who've just joined, I am on campus right now. Not a student, not a faculty member, but I'm still on campus. I am in one of the residence halls near what is now the USF Genshaft Road. They've named a road after our ex-president, immediate past president. I have so many memories from every single corner of that campus, way too many to mention. But I think the very fond ones are those when I lived on campus and was a part of the Indian Students of India Association, the Hindu Students Council, so on and so forth. But those, I think, are my fondest memories. Then they range from like hopping on a bus, the Bull Runner bus that goes around, witnessing Priyanka Chopra plant and with Anil Kapoor plant a tree right next to the Patel Center when they were here for the IFA Awards, which happened in Tampa, Florida. It also goes way back to when I was teaching students in the Honors College, goes to the basement, the bunker where the USF Oracle newspaper currently still exists. It doesn't run as we used to every single day, but it comes out. It's still in print, and it goes on and on from student theater productions all the way to the classes over there. Great to see this diverse range of people who have joined in from different years. I wouldn't say because not really going into the ages, but different years, because it's a different USF that they've all seen. I think we've all seen, and that journey is amazing. I was fortunate enough to go to campus. It's almost like a temple run. For whenever I land in Florida, I go to USF, and it's just, even if I'm veering close to it, we were going there for pizza, which Blaze Pizza has come up right next to campus, and my family's, we're here for a wedding actually. So we were, and then I forced them to go through the campus, and I gave them the tour for I think the 15th time in their lives. But so I was here last week, and I was fortunate enough to see Vanessa, and she she's going to tell you a whole lot of things that she has in mind, and I'm really, really excited. If you've not seen, if you can't gauge the excitement, it's right here. I'm wearing a hoodie in Florida just because, and then right here. So this is given to me by Arunaji. So, all right, looking forward to everybody else.
Thank you. Tanya, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm wearing green and gold. So I had to dig out my green and gold kurta today, right? So my husband was just laughing as I was getting ready. He says, "Oh, you're in your green and gold, looks like it for USF." So favorite memory, gosh, and I shared it with Supriya earlier.
Yes.
But, I was on campus in the 80s and 90s, right? I think many of you, I don't know how many of you were born then. My son's a college grad now and working. But so I remember my fondest memory. So here's this young person, you guys have so much more exposure. But I grew up in Mumbai, and although we had some exposure, I mean, that was my first international flight, right? When I went to USF, I hadn't even left the country. And so the year was 1988. And my major, I went there as a graduate student, of course, for my PhD in IO psychology, industrial organizational psychology. And I was in this seminar on computers, right? And so this was way before the dream of a desktop on every desk, right? Which was the Microsoft dream. By the way, I also worked with Microsoft for many years. I worked at Microsoft later. But this was way before then, and I was taking this, my major professor was actually a comp science and IO psychology. So he used to also teach in the computer science department and do collaborative work. So he had that boundary sort of spanning thing. And I was taking what was then called computer supported cooperative work. We were only reading about the ARPANET. We were reading about things like hyperlinks. And I can see Kumar smiling, right? Because, right, remember? And here I am. I mean, at least the engineering students were experiencing it. And here's a liberal arts person coming and landing up there. And so my fondest memory is, and it was so exciting, SOC building, SOC. I don't know if that still exists, but, because Psych has moved now to the behavioral sciences. But SOC had this big computer lab, IBM mainframes, and in our first class, or maybe the very first class, our professor took us to the lab. We got our own email account, and we actually sat down at the Unix, at one of those IBM terminals, and sent an email. I don't know to whom. I didn't even know anybody to send an email to. But to this day, I remember that. And I think one of the things I have felt, all of you will have your own experiences, but I feel privileged. I've got absolutely cutting edge education at USF. I mean, I'm talking 1988. I'm a psych student, and I was talking about computers, and I was reading about the Palo Alto labs and GUI and so on. And I think that has always stayed with me. And I always say to Aruna, that I think those, I'll always be grateful to USF because it defined me and it changed me. So that's my favorite memory, folks, going way back into being excited about sending an email.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Kumar, would you like to go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm the right one to follow Pragma, I guess. I precede her. So let's see, where do I start? So I actually was I joined in January 1986, graduated in May of 1987. I actually left, I took my first flight from Mumbai to London to Toronto because I was in Canada for 1 year in 85. So my interesting story about USF is I'm one of those rare people that you would find entering the United States in a taxi cab. I took a cab from Windsor, Ontario to Detroit. On January 3rd, temperature was -20. The cab, and it's interesting, the guy said, the immigration, I gave the I-20. The guy, he says, we never get these, but I know how to handle it. He took it and let me go. I went to the airport there. It was -20. I landed in Tampa, Florida at 70+ degrees. And remember, I'm born and brought up in Chennai, used to be Madras, okay? And wow, finally it's nice weather. I took a cab, went to the university, and yes, nobody received me. But once I went to the university, in the engineering college, the old building. Now I know it's a nice building. I've been there. And they immediately, the department introduced me to the students, a lot of them. I think, I know Vivek, maybe in a year later, maybe more people. To my memory, there were only like 30 or 40 maximum Indian students at that time. And immediately a few of them came. By the afternoon, I had a place to move to. So it is a nice, environment. But I have a lot of memories. What is the memories I have when I coming in? It's biggest change for me, not only in India, but even in Canada when I was in school, the difference in how professors and students worked. So I was in the industrial engineering department, industrial and management systems engineering department. It was very casual, the faculty and the students in the classroom. And also we used to have our monthly potluck dinners. Those days, the chairman was Dr. Wimert in his house or Dr. Kimbler's house. And every Friday evening, not all of them, but most of the faculty and grad students, we used to go to, I don't know, it is still there. I don't think it may be there. Chi-Chi's. We used to have a Friday happy hours. It was a nice environment and it made you feel good until they really put the pressure on you. One day, I was a TA. So Dr. Wimmer, the chairman, I used to do TA for economic analysis. And I was young and I'm like, he says, Kumar, I got good news for you today. I said, what? This is at 9 o'clock in the morning. 10:30 class, you're going to take. I'm not going to be available. I have a dean's meeting or whatever. Like really, really scared. 210 students, the huge hall, but it's a nice, what I'm trying to say is the faculty really, they believe you, they walk you through it. And it is a family environment. In College of Engineering, there's a family those days, people are talking about cell phones, a lot of things. Somebody mentioned email. I don't remember having an email in 86, but I heard of ARPANET, DARPANET, all of those things. We had a prime computer lab, the WE guys had, and I used to use it for my little bit of work. Who taught me? The undergrad electrical guys taught me how to use it. And one day, I convinced Dr. Kimbler to upgrade my PC from an 80 to XT. If I have that, or XT to 80, I forgot that. But unfortunately, when I'm doing my thesis, this is 1987, it crashed. I lost all my work. Everything, I was developing a computer simulation model. And luckily I had a printout this big. And I said, how am I going to catch up? I have my defense coming up. So Friday night to my biggest memory, if you ask me, what do I remember about USF, is that Friday in the evening, we had to go to Chi-Chi's, no choice. Otherwise, Dr. Snyder will make sure you regret it the next Monday. Friday, we went to Chi-Chi's, had dinner at home, came to school till Monday morning. I used to go home for a shower, dinner, etc. But the fact, I was sleeping on Monday morning there, but I managed to catch up. Elida Poro and Liz Corrigan, I guess, they were the admins and they woke me up and said, Kumar, my name used to be Rama at that time. I didn't change my name when I was in New York. So it is an interesting experience about what I want to say is a family environment, which I never remember. I went to college in South India. I went to MBA, I didn't finish it, in XLRI Jamshedpur. Then I went to Canada for a year, then moved to, the environment was really strange. And very second week I joined, somebody, an undergrad student said, you know what, you're from India? I said, yes. You know what, you come with me on Friday. This guy took me to some association called, I don't know, they have it these days, Intercultural Organization. ICO, they used to call it. I became a member, met people of various cultures. I mean, a lot of Americans and Europeans, Asians. It was a really different environment for me. What USF was not for education. It is about culture is what I learned, how you work with people. There were what, 2 Indian grocery stores those days, and that part of it is fine, but learning from the university, I didn't stay in campus. I know he was saying he stayed in the dorms. I did in Canada, but here I was in an apartment, I don't know, Fowler, Fletcher, somewhere down the road there. Laplace Apartments, the first one I stayed in. So it was a very community spirit was a very important thing. And somebody mentioned 75 cents. Let me tell you, once a month only I call my parents. It cost something like $3 a minute, if I remember right, plus or minus of 50 cents. So I used to tell my mom, I'll just say hi to you, hi to dad, and to my sisters will say scream hi. I used to hang up. I didn't even make it to my sister's wedding. Yeah, I was a graduate student. Yeah, I was on scholarship, but I had to pay my fees. I missed my only wedding in my family I missed was my sister's wedding, but I did celebrate with a lot of friends. I did learn to cook. So I cooked for them. That was a nice memory. First time, yes, in India those days, car was not very popular, not common. I learned, second week I landed, there was a credit union, okay, in the campus. I don't know, it's still there. They were auctioning a car. I bid, wrong bid. My wife calls it a lemon. As a yellow color Omega. My first car ever. You know what? I bought it. I didn't have a driver's license. They said you can pick it up with a driver's license. Over the weekend and 2 other days, 4 days, I got my driver's license, went there on a Wednesday. I picked up the car. I started driving. I still remember first drive alone. There was a highway and going over to St. Petersburg on the bridge. If you ask me what was the scariest moment, that was it. I didn't know how to change lanes. I was in the middle lane. I had to take the exit. They told me third exit after the bridge. I'm like, damn, how am I going to take it? So there's a lot of nice memories I have still with students. More than that, it is not about Indian students. It is about everybody. We had Turkish, the French guy, French Lebanese actually he was, and a few Americans. I still remember Anne was the one actually who taught me how to drive a stick shift. I had bought an automatic.
Was Farah Korsandian the international student advisor when you went there? Or she came after you?
No, it was she was there that time.
Yeah, Farah.
And so it was like you had so many different colors. For me, it was about a cultural experience. And what I tell people is I did not go to USF to study. Yes, some people used to make fun. Miami was University for Sun and was a really fun place. I used to call USF for Sun and Fun. Sun and fun because I learned a lot. People were very open-minded. They kind of adopted you. I would say, with a dog. Even the faculty, I used to go to the faculty's houses a lot. They used to take me and we used to have dinners. Dr. Katur, I know his wife was a president at University of Houston. In fact, Dr. Tapas Das was my classmate. He was the chairman of the IE department recently. I think he's still there. So we had a lot of fun. I didn't go to USF to study, get education, but what it taught me is how to be successful. I had a very successful career, leaving USF, moving to teaching. I think Ojas said he was a faculty. I was teaching for 2 years in a small college, Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey. Then I moved to Michigan again, worked for General Motors with their subsidiary EDS. I moved to California in 91. So I still call California home now. I moved to the Bay Area in 91. Till 2002, I had an opportunity to come and set up the office for my company, Applied Materials. So I was the first country head here. Then I worked with them then again, I said, you know what? I got to be an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur. Finally, 2019, I retired. I moved back because my daughter was finishing law at Berkeley at that time. We were there for 2 years. And when she decided to stand, she stood for the elections to California Assembly. She came close, 55-45. She lost to the Attorney General's wife just a few months ago, special elections. And I returned back. I'm now in a nonprofit. I'm working for a nonprofit for a while, just to get my feet wet, working with African countries and some Asian countries. So it is like all this wide experience, I would say it all started at one point. It's called USF.
Wow. Bravo, that was beautiful.
So, I think, as a Vivek, I'm 1 year ahead of you at 1.5 years, I guess.
Thank you so much. That was incredible to hear all of your memories and your stories. I do hope we'll hear more in future events.
Yeah, unfortunately, last time I came, in fact, only 2 times I visited USF from 87. Once was in 91. The second time was 2015. Okay. I hope to come back soon.
I hope you'll come back again. And then
Yep,
you
I
can
will.
see us all in person. Nimita,
Yes.
would you like to go?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I think I'm one of the youngest alumni right now, so not one of the, but I am. Definitely my experiences to talk about was very different. You guys did not have the technology, didn't have cell phones, no Facebook, no email accounts, in fact. Forget Facebook. So for me, it was very, very different. I've had a lot of help because I've been researching on universities, and we had that privilege to do this back in 2015. So basically, I'm from Bangalore, born and raised there. My parents still live there. I finished my undergrad there, and I was like, I was that overprotective kid from my parents. They did not want to let me go out of the house, but I took the biggest leap possible. Like when I decided to actually come down to USA, most precisely USF, they were really worried that I wouldn't be able to survive this, but I have, and I'm still here for 6 years now. So I think I came down here in August 2015, and I graduated with a master's in electrical engineering in 2017 December. The biggest thing for me, I think, I mean, everyone would agree, USF is a place where you can make memories every single day. It does not have to be just one particular thing. So I'm still making memories right now. Looking forward to making more with all these events and everything. So I think one of my biggest memory would be when back in 2017, when my parents came here and I was graduating at that point of time, was when the college actually recognized me as somebody who can empower and stand and represent India for, I think that was USF Welcome the World. That was the event where a lot of, consultancies from India, from all over the world had come over. They were all sitting, and I saw my parents sitting right there when I had to, go up on the stage along with another student and give a speech about my experiences and everything. I think that was one of my favorite memories because I didn't expect my parents to feel so proud having me up there. So if I had to share my favorite memory, that would be one, which is very recent, of course, not as old or, back in the days kind of a thing, but definitely something to mention. I think I stand my ground here in USF because of the fact that my advisor is one of those women empowering advisors or instructor, you would say, in USF in electrical engineering, because I think we need more girls or more women as engineers to stand together because we can make, I'm not saying anything against men. Please do not hold that against me. I'm not saying anything against men, but I'm saying that more women need to come out because I know they're talented enough to come up and speak or, become engineers. So that's how I think I stood my grounds, and I wanted to be one of those people who can inspire more women, more girls from India or from all over the world to, in fact, go ahead and pursue something in STEM education. So that's it about me. I guess I'm just going to continue doing what I am right now and try to bring in more people. Yes, I was a part of SIA, and in 2016, helped a lot of students. Like I said, we had Facebook back then, and we still do have Facebook and things like that. So I was, as a grad coordinator, able to help a lot of people come in here, answer their questions. So yes, that tradition is still going on for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now you have Supriya on the call. You can mentor her in your department.
Absolutely, yes.
And finally, Namish, if you'd like to say a few words, tell us about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, and good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Slightly less vintage than some of the friends here, but not as young as the others. I came there in 2007, graduated 2009, did my master's in environmental science and policy from the Department of Geography, College of Arts and Sciences. I still remember my building, my room, where I used to hold office hours as a teaching assistant. It was room 207 in the NES building. a lot of memories from the campus. I think it's a very difficult question to pick just one memory. I'll be greedy and I'll pick two. The first one was the week of welcome, my first visit to the US ever, and feeling a little bit lost in such a huge campus. But the week of welcome, the first initial few days of all the events on the lawns, I think that really made me feel welcome. And like Kumar was saying, made me realize how diverse and inviting and friendly the campus was. I think that really made me feel at home. So I have to pick that as probably one of my most vivid memories. And the other one was where I was part of a team. Now, I was in Tampa at a time when the old Marshall Center, the old student center was coming down and the new one was being constructed, 2008-9. So I got to see both of them. And I was part of the team appointed by Dr. Genshaft, the president at that time, to do an energy audit of the new building coming up so that it can be a little bit green, more energy conservation, more water conservation initiatives. So we did that research, gave our recommendations, and the architect took those into consideration, and then they ensured that the building is actually green, literally. So that was my small contribution to the new Marshall Center, which is going to be around for a lot of years, I'm sure. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to more engagement with all of you.
Thank you so much. I'll let Supriya take over again here.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. It's very nice to hear from all of you. And I also like to introduce a member of our India team, Mrs. Aruna Dasgupta, Country Advisor, USF, to speak a few words about this event.
Hi everyone, I know a lot of you and I'm so excited because like I told Vanessa, this is like a dream come true for us. We've often talked about it. It's really very difficult to get even an India chapter going. And let me first introduce the India team. Shifali doesn't have a camera on. Shifali is our
hi.
For India.
Hi everyone.
She is now based in Dubai. She was earlier in Delhi in the USF office here. And after marriage, she moved to Dubai. And that's Nupur. Nupur is in that sense our more recent, she's also still been with us for how many years now, Nupur?
It's almost been 5 years. I've been
5 years.
Since 2007.
She's our recruitment advisor. And a few years ago, she was given the additional responsibility for other countries in the region, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and what else? I'm missing one, I think. Right, so we are, for us, the Indian alumni are such wonderful resources, and they take part in our events. They represent us at alumni fairs, and I do want to mention Dr. Roger Brindley here, who really got us going on this journey, and all of you, who are from USF India would have met him, because every time he came to India, he would make it a point to meet the alumni over dinner or over tea or whatever. And he's the one who said, look, Aruna, contact all the alumni here and tell them this is not a question of fundraising, it's friend raising. And I remember that line very well. And that's how we got it. And all the people I see here, whether Ojas, Naimesh, Pradnya, Shrikant, Sampath, they've all taken part in our events. There are others who are not here right now. I hope they join us soon. Karan, Lajpat. And so, they talk to the students, they inspire them, they answer their questions. And very often when, Shifali and Nupur and I are at these sessions, we start off and Shifali gives all the next steps, etc., and then the alumni take over. And sometimes the event scheduled for 1 hour will go on to 2 hours because the students are so excited to talk to the alumni. So just want to thank all of you. And of course, the three of us are the only non-alumni here. None of us are from USF, though we visited USF, of course. And that was one challenge in starting an India chapter because I'm not an alum. So how do we start it? And I think the COVID has been a blessing in disguise, because Roger and I would often say that, okay, where should we hold this Indian alumni meeting? Because if whichever city you hold it in, people have to come from all over. Who's going to fund their travel, etc. And at that point, we never thought, hey, why can't we have a virtual meeting? Because, it just wasn't talked about at that time. So COVID has been a blessing in disguise like that. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for making this possible. Supriya, for all your hard work. And let's continue with the memories.
Thank you, Aruna. Definitely, we could not have done this event without you and your support and all of your wonderful relationships with our alumni in India. So thank you very much. And thank you, Shefali and Wood as well for your support. I will go ahead and give the presentation. We're a pretty small group, so I think we can just have a discussion afterward all together. So let me share my screen.
Yeah, after that, we'll ask the others to give their memories.
Okay, can everyone see that? Yep, okay, great. Okay, so I'm starting with this because it's really the core of this concept. And that is that nowadays, you don't just move somewhere and stay there. You live in different countries, you study in different countries. We're global citizens. And so the former concept of, alumni chapters, I think, is not as inclusive as it could be. So let's talk a little bit about who are global alumni. So previously, when we thought about, let's say, international alumni, people would say, oh, that's only people who were international students, or, oh, that's only people, those only alumni who live in other countries outside of the United States. But we definitely want to be a lot more inclusive. And I would like us to be a lot more expansive also, and really think about global alumni as people with international experience and with global perspective. So that can be international students, study abroad participants, visiting scholars, our faculty who do research internationally, any alumni who are living abroad, and people who are just internationally engaged in general. There's no reason why we have to limit international alumni to people living abroad, because many students don't go back to their home country. Many of them stay in the US or move to other countries as well. So if we think about global alumni and sort of the basic vision is really to create this interconnected network around the world of USF students and allies and our alumni. And our purpose is really to connect all of these global citizens, connect them to one another, connect them to students, connect them to the university, and to support USF in its international program. So if you came to USF as an international student, or if you use the study abroad office, you were supported by USF World, which is, where I work. They support students, faculty, scholars, everything. They do all that work. So we really want to be able to give back to them so that they can continue to support these kinds of initiatives. So now you have an idea of who global alumni are, and let me tell you what I think our networks could look like. So I think of alumni networks as groups of alumni who are from the network country, who are in the network country, or that have an interest in the network country. So in terms of India, that could be any alumni in India, any alumni who are from India, no matter where they are in the world. They can be in the US, Europe, Asia, doesn't matter. Or it could be people who are doing business in India, who are doing research in India. It could be faculty who are doing research in India. I think the more inclusive we can be, the more we can really maximize the benefits for everyone. So we have developed a structure. I've come up with, some ideas. We would have one network director, but we would have network coordinators and network contacts that were regional. So we might have a network coordinator and a contact in, Bangalore, one in Delhi, one in Tampa, Florida, one in New York City, one in Chicago. You could have that as a leadership team divided geographically based on where our alumni hubs are. Okay, and just like an alumni chapter, we would still have some responsibilities, but I tried to really design them in a way that would encourage engagement and connectivity. So they're fairly simple, attending, 2 student engagement opportunities that might be just being a panelist on some kind of student event with Indian students or with all students, supporting some recruitment efforts per year. Oh, you guys are well versed in that, thanks to Aruna, so that would be an easy one for you to meet. Also coordinating 2 network events, and it can be very flexible about how these are met. You guys don't need my help in coming up with ideas, but in the leadership guidebook that I've created, we do list some things to kind of remind you of things you can do. Welcoming incoming students, welcoming new members, being a speaker, getting a professional to speak at one of your events, things like that. So it's very flexible in the ways that you can meet these responsibilities. In terms of time, we also tried to come up with a really simple timeline to help networks meet these requirements without having to stress too much about the decision-making process and when to do what. So in January, it would be a planning meeting and the network, the Global Network Leadership Assembly, which I will tell you more about in a moment. And then between February and June, just meeting 1 network event, 1 recruitment effort, 1 student engagement opportunity. And then the same thing in the second half of the year. So my calculations are that if you're in the leadership team, you can look at about 3 hours or less of time per month for leading this network. And then per year, that comes out to less than 1 week of work. So if you try to think of it that way, then it's maybe helps in terms of determining your availability. Now, of course, with all that time, there are benefits for members and for leaders. So we want to look at mostly expanding your personal and professional networks, access to industry talent. I myself own my own company outside of my job at USF, and I have come to USF to hire interns. And I know a lot of other alumni who are global alumni who are going to be doing the same thing soon. We're starting a global alumni internship program. You can network with other global alumni leaders. So this is what I had showed you in the previous slides. It's called the Global Network Leadership Assemblies. So that would mean that the leadership team of Network India would get to meet the leadership team of other global USF networks. For example, Network Brazil, USF Network Colombia, USF Network Japan, USF Network Saudi Arabia. So it's like another level of networking for the leadership team of the alumni groups, which is, I think, going to be really exciting because you'll be able to brainstorm, you'll be able to talk about the ways that you're engaging your constituents, troubleshoot some matters, and then also get to meet really interesting people from around the world. Another thing is that this will allow you to take an active role in advocating with USF if you're interested in that. I'm more than happy to connect you to a variety of different councils and panels where you could actually have a very direct impact on the direction that the university is taking. That might be department specific or college specific. It's really up to you, but I'm happy to help you do that as part of this program. And then finally, it's the pay it forward. I think all of us, it's obvious we all have wonderful memories of our time at USF and being able to provide current students and upcoming students some of those same opportunities, that same feeling of being welcome and being part of a family, and maybe even more than what we had when we were students. I'm also an alum, giving them the kind of opportunities that we would have liked, at that time. Okay, the other thing that I've come up with is the idea that we can have different levels of distinction within a network or for our networks. So for example, you can earn the distinction of being a community of support. And I've developed 4 different levels of that. So if you meet the bronze, that means you've met all of the annual network requirements. So that means you would be a bronze community of support. Silver is that we've established some kind of network, some kind of mentorship program for students. Green is that we've raised some money for student support funds. And those funds specifically would be international student emergency fund, so that when, I've worked in international admissions, I'm working now in this, and international students are vulnerable. They come, this more than anyone, but we often have students that come to us with a financial crisis, with a medical crisis, with something, and that's the fund that we use to help them. And then finally, an endowed student scholarship, which would mean that every year an Indian student would get a scholarship from USF Network India, which is another feeling that when you come to USF, immediately you know that you have a community supporting you from the moment that you land and forever after, because it doesn't matter where you move, it doesn't matter where you work, what part of the world that you live in, you can always remain a member of Network India. And there wouldn't be a timeline for these distinctions, but I think it will spur some really friendly competition between the networks. So you can see like, okay, Network India is a silver community of support and Network Colombia is a green community of support. It would be interesting to see how the different networks interact. And with each level of distinction, there are also benefits for the network. So for bronze, you might get a social media spotlight across USF, silver, maybe a university news article. Green, you get to meet leadership, like senior leadership of USF and USF World. And then gold might be a feature in the USF magazine. And that, these are just ideas and that I came up with, but it's really up to you as the network members to determine what you want your benefits to be, what you want your goals to be. Every network is going to have their own flavor. And I'm telling you, this is the 4th one that I've launched this week. And it's fascinating to me that with every discussion, each network has different priorities and different interests. So I think it's really important that every network really communicate and collaborate to make the decision about the direction they want to go in, what kind of initiatives they want to support, what kind of benefits they want, etc. Okay, and in terms of USF support, this is the last thing. I'm here for you, and Supriya is here for you. That's one of the reasons that I hired her. This kind of thing takes organization, takes leadership, takes support, and we want to make this a success. So the things that we can help you with are to provide you with data, contact information about potential members. We can help you with the marketing for your events, the marketing materials. We can connect you with USF experts and industry experts. We can also connect you with community partners that we have in the area. Basically, we are going to, especially in the first year, be very present in helping you schedule meetings and meeting these requirements and developing your own vision and mission for your network. All right, well, that's all I have to say. Now I'm very excited to hear about what you have to say about all of these ideas, this concept. I welcome you to give your honest feedback about anything that might be missing or anything we need to add. So I will just open the floor up, really. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. No.
Oh, you just have to do stop share.
That was under my camera.
So Vanessa, this is, this is really, I think you've thought it through. I'm just, I've never been in networks. I think some people here might have more experience, so it's a lot of information to digest. But at first glance, I think you've done a lot of the thinking for us. And I think you've done the spade work. So it's good foundational stuff for us to get going. I had a question not related to this, but I was just curious to know, you said 4 different networks launched. Which ones were these, and how were they, and which are the ones you're planning to launch in the global arena?
So we launched Network Brazil, USF Network Brazil, USF Network Colombia, and USF Network Saudi Arabia. Those are the other 3 that I launched. in Brazil is the highest number of undergraduate students that are international that come to USF, and we have strong community partners with, for example, the Brazil Florida Business Council. So I invited them to the table as well. I really tried to invite all different players to the table so that it's not alumni, really involving community partners, involving current students and faculty, everything. Colombia is, there's a university in Colombia, and they are a premier, international partner that sends us students, international exchanges, dual degrees, things like that. So we have a long-standing partnership with them. Saudi Arabia in the past has been a very active network, so we wanted to help them revive, their initiatives and everything there. And it's been wonderful, honestly. I've been hearing memories and stories of times at USF all week, and it's been very touching. And I think something that everyone really enjoyed was seeing their old classmates, reconnecting with people from their time at USF. But like I said, everyone really did have a different agenda, different ideas about what they wanted to do with the network, how they wanted to engage, what their priorities were going to be. So I found that really interesting as well. So this is a framework, this is an idea, this is to help, answer a lot of those, primary kind of questions, but it really needs to grow from here and take the shape of whatever the members really want it to look like.
Nice, thank you.
Any more feedback? Ideas?
Vanessa, I know that you launched this on LinkedIn. The group was made on LinkedIn, but I feel like not many people network on LinkedIn. It's just they come in for, I'm saying this out of personal experience, they come in there to network if it's something to do with professional, right? I know this is a professional network, but we also want to have fun, like you said. We want to make it a personal, like community of support. So are you planning to have like a group set up on Facebook? Because I think social media would play a really big role, bringing in more people. Like I was talking to you about not being able to share the LinkedIn post that you put it. So I tried posting that. I just tried copying that and posting it on Facebook, and I did see quite a few response. And if it's with current students or with, alumni, because they have these SIA pages on Facebook, wherein if you post these kind of things, you get a lot more response. I'm thinking if you want to, go more global and find more people for these kind of events, I think maybe we should switch over a little bit to even social media.
That's a great suggestion. So I'll tell you a little bit about why we went with LinkedIn. First of all, because we're just starting and we're trying to collect data on, where people are, where they're working, things like that. LinkedIn is really the only one that provides you that information. Right. So that's the best way for me to collect data and look at where are our alumni hubs, what industries are they working in, what are their titles. So that's the benefit of LinkedIn that we can't get from the other social networks. But I agree with you. And each network is different. Like the Brazilians, they love LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn every day, you're not doing it right. Wow. Yeah. So that's totally different. And for you guys, it might make a lot more sense to be on Facebook. But I will say that what we really want to do is actually create a group within a new alumni platform the Alumni Association is investing in this year. So that's launching this year. It's much more similar to social media, and it's for all alumni across USF. And then what we would do is create a special group specifically for Network India, and you can use that platform for messaging, for scheduling, for all kinds of things. So we had to start the LinkedIn group because it's the only thing we could really do at this time. But I have a meeting actually in December where we're going to preview these groups. The company's called People Grove, in case you want to take a look at how their platforms work. So it'll be a People Grove platform for the university with a very special mentorship program that's ingrained in it. And then within a year, maybe we'll create the special groups for each network. But if you guys want to if we want to do a Facebook group for this, perfect. We can definitely do that. And that's a great suggestion in the meantime.
This is Vivek. My suggestion would be, I already have connections with various alumni from my time on LinkedIn, and we've all preferred LinkedIn to Facebook. So till this system comes on, till this website comes on, I would suggest let's stick to LinkedIn, because Facebook makes me increasingly uncomfortable these days. So to keep things professional, let's continue on LinkedIn till we have our own system. And in any case, those of us who have been in touch with each other from my time, we have used LinkedIn reasonably well. So I mean, my preference is for LinkedIn until we have our own platform.
Okay.
I'm smiling, Vanessa and Nirmita or Nirmita. It's such a generational thing, right? I mean, my kids don't even say Facebook. Oh my God, Mom, that's your generation thing. I don't even know what tools they use, because I mean, my kids range from 18 to 22. So it's all, they're not even kids anymore, right? And Kumar, your kids are certainly not kids anymore. But maybe it's the grandkids who are going to be talking about a whole, but it's such a generational thing. That's what I was smiling. I mean, there's no one way. I think the message that Vanessa is giving us, or at least I'm taking away, is use whatever means you want. The idea is to just connect, network, bring more into the fold. Let's see where people are. What are we doing? So just keep it moving. I think that's kind of what I'm walking away with a little bit.
See, about 10 or 11 years back, someone from USF Alumni in Tampa had got in touch with me to see if a network in India could be set up. And we had then decided that we'll set up something starting in Mumbai and meet for coffee, etc. But it never really took off because the networking was not done actively, and to some extent it's my fault, and also the alumni office didn't follow up from Tampa. And I'm part of 2 other alumni networks, 3 in fact if I include my hostel group from IIT Bombay. So 3, and the only way alumni networks can really move forward is, at least initially, we periodically get together once a month, once in 2 months, or whatever frequency, till we get some momentum going. So it's important to make a running start. Otherwise, these things fall off. That's been my experience with alumni groups.
Yeah, that's so true, Vivek. I remember you had organized something at the Juhu JW Marriott in Mumbai some years ago, and that was quite nice. I wonder, was Nemish there that evening? Somehow I feel maybe I remember seeing him.
I think Nemish was traveling then or something, right, Nemish? He wasn't there, but we got a lot of alumni, and then Roger was here, I think, in Bangalore.
And I think there was a professor from chemical engineering who was
Joseph Babu.
Yeah, and then it was so funny. I mean, talk about coincidences, folks. I'm digressing a little. So we had this dinner, and then we realized he and I were on a panel at a university in Mumbai the next day together. And, of course, we had seen each other's names, but till we connected that evening, nothing had really registered. I'm like, oh, yeah, you were at USF, but that evening connection. So Vivek, I'm endorsing what you're saying. And I think Aruna has done that a couple of times in Delhi as well. My business key takes me to Mumbai all the time. So she had given me a heads up that we are meeting in Mumbai. So I remember.
Every time Roger would come, he would say, okay, let's get the alumni in whichever city I'm traveling. So we've met alumni in Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi. Yeah, we've done that. And Vanessa, I just wanted to ask you, since you're talking about all this, silver, gold, bronze. So when we have a USF alum taking part in our recruitment events, so do you want me to tell you, because I'm not an alum, so I can't, officially join this network, but I could tell you that, okay, like say Naimesh took part in a alumni event yesterday or the day before, right? Yesterday.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. So how do I do that? All of them do take part in our events. Srikant, Sampath, Ojas, they've all taken part in our events.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the best way, it might be a little bit tricky in the beginning because we're still going to be deciding the network structure. But once that leadership team is in place, that would be something that you would communicate to them. So you might communicate that to the network coordinator. So I created a leadership guidebook and it's very clear like what the responsibilities and roles of those 3 positions are. The coordinator is really all about the event, right? So I think informing that person and they have to keep, track of what kind of engagement they're doing. That would be the person to go to.
Yeah, I think Shifali's reached out to Nirmita to talk to some students who had questions, right, Nirmita? I think on WhatsApp, so there are different, there are different ways that we're doing this.
Yes, and those are all.
I've never really been like more associated with alumni. This is the first time I'm actually, in front of old USF Go Bulls team, but I've mostly helped incoming students or students who are already at USF. I've really helped only them. I had no experience with alumni before. This is my first time.
It's great that we're starting.
For any network, my request, and this is what we do on alumni networks, please, no politics, no political discussions, no pro-Modi, anti-Modi, pro-Trump, anti-Trump. Just ourselves, our families, and USF. Let's restrict to that because I have seen close alumni groups split. And then we have had to bring people together again with a lot of effort. There's just too much division going around. So just let's stick to ourselves and USF in the network and our professional careers. Nothing beyond that. That's my request.
No good morning messages. Yeah. India loves those good morning messages. Everybody will.
No, I think what you said is really important because one of the things that you can do as a network is kind of draft, whatever your network guidelines, policies, whatever are. You put that. That this is something that you believe strongly and that's just part, if you're going to be part of the network, then you must accept this. So actually.
Wait, Vanessa, I had one quick question. Alumni networks, what about alumni membership? I mean, that's a requirement to be here because no? Should that be made a requirement? Because I know other universities, I mean, you can only be part of, especially if you're going to create access and, all of that. Again, I'm just putting it out there. Other universities, you have to pay to be part of a alumni first. You need to be a paid alumni before you get invited to alumni events. And I don't know what USF's approach on that is.
So that's not the case now. Okay. First of all, I don't work with the Alumni Association. I work with USF World. That's the first distinction. And second, the Alumni Association has made a lot of changes in the last year so that you can become a general alumni member. And that is that's not a membership that requires any payment or any dues. So now the only thing that you have to pay for, even with the Alumni Association, is what they call the lifetime membership. And that's not a requirement for being a member of a chapter or a society or a global network.
I am a lifetime member, not to do just a little bit of advocacy. It's not that expensive. I mean, compared to what other universities in the US lifetime memberships are. My husband's a graduate from Columbia University, New York. And of course, the alumni membership is far more expensive than what USF's is. So whenever you're ready, I mean,
My suggestion here would be not to keep a barrier at this stage, because we want more and more people to come into the network, and they will come on the basis of personal contact. I mean, those that I'm in touch with are essentially coming on the basis of the based on the experiences that we shared together and the stories we tell. So these kind of formalities and barriers can be introduced if we have a good network going on. But we need to get a network going first.
Yeah, I think I agree. So I think as far as the money part goes, if we look at the slide where Vanessa mentioned 4 levels, so there is a level where you could find funds to support certain causes. So having a fee, alumni fee, obviously at some point, as we mentioned, that might be a good choice to make. But right now, people who can, the first step, as Vivek mentioned, get more people involved, find volunteers, get them as network coordinators, contacts, and someone who does have enough contacts in the professional world, they can bring in money for a certain cause. That's my view.
Thank you.
I just want to mention that Amay, I'm not seeing your picture. Amay is another one who took part in our one of the EdUSA events. He happened to be in India then. I still remember fondly. We met there. And Vanessa, I wonder if we can just ask everybody, hi Amay, if you could ask everybody else who was not on the panel to just quickly give a little bit of an introduction and a special memory. We have time.
Of course.
Amay, you want to start off? Alphabetically, we'll go with A. You're on mute, Amay.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Amay and I graduated with my master's in electrical from USF in 2019. And I'm currently working in Stantec as a substation design engineer. So my memory, I won't say like that. There are too many memories. Like I've made a lot of friends who are like, basically USF is just like my second home. And memory I don't have, but yeah, experience I do have. Like the one that Aruna ma'am was talking about is that when we were out on that USIEF event and we were interacting with students. It was a pleasant morning, cold morning, right? Right, ma'am? And yeah, it was interested in, like, people were very excited to meet a current student who was there in the fair, so that we can meet and get to know about the USF, what is going on, and that's what. And I was very excited when I was sharing my experience with them. And they were listening. I don't know how many took admissions and how many got interested in the USF, but yeah, that was a great experience interacting with new students, incoming students with that.
Supriya, you want to invite the others? One by one?
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, quick and easy way, Supriya, if in the interest of time, whoever speaks tags the other person. I think all of us have our names over there. So, Amay, you want to tag someone?
I need to check. Wait.
Oh, you can't see the names. I'll tag on your behalf. Kumar has spoken, Ojas has spoken.
Saujanya Pangrekar.
Yeah, Saujanya.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Hi. I started at USF for my master's in electrical engineering in spring of '97. Graduated in '99. Electrical. I joined spring. So fall is considered typically like the bigger, like a joining thing as spring, but I still got the same amount of welcome in spring semester as well. As I mentioned, my airplane landing story about holding a sign. There are many memories. I remember we used to go to me and my roommates used to go to an Indian restaurant in a mall. That's where the university cinemas used to be. I don't know if it's still working. But I remember at that time I was way heavier than I am now. My roommate was like 220 pounds. So these two people would come in. We would go to the buffet, and there were small bowls for dessert and larger bowls for sambar. Sometimes they would run out of the small bowls, and we would grab a large bowl and get the desserts in them. And the owner walks up to us, sir, that is for sambar, sir. I brought you some small ones for desserts. And we were like, oh my God, I think we're going to get banned from this restaurant now. So I made a lot of friends. I'm still in contact with them. Even though I'm in California now for 20 years, I was in Boston, Massachusetts, just recently moved here. So every time I change places, first thing I do is, I'm also more of a LinkedIn person than Facebook. I do have Facebook, obviously. And I understand the generation gap, as Pragma was saying. But I check for, Boston, USF. What kind of contacts do I get from there? When I moved here, USF and Los Angeles. And I have randomly contacted people, and I would say I have a 50% success rate of making connection just because of the name USF and absolutely nothing else, not just Indian people, but otherwise as well. So thanks to Vanessa and team to putting this together. And I'll be happy to sign up for, the network contacts at least, maybe participate more if I could in the future. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sampath, you want to say some words?
Hi all, Sampath here. I joined, so I was at USF in 2008 and I graduated in 2010. So I was in the statistics group. I think I was something, the unique person not into the engineering or any other sciences, but I was into the statistics group. And I was closely associated with the Moffitt Cancer Institute, where we used to work with all the colon cancer data and the the cancer related issues. And then I came back to India and I started working in the Novartis Pharma as a statistical scientist with all the statistics, all the data sciences. I can say now, the folks calling it as a data science, all big data and everything. It is something I get the back end of the statistics there. So, and all the machine learning on AI and all the stuff. So here, like I was still happy and enthusiastic. I used to participate all the activities. I think I can say maximum of the activities that was organized at Hyderabad place, where I used to meet Arna and the other folks, and even Roger. I met. We had a dinner, and we also had a party twice, I guess. Yeah. So this, I think that is something like it was a kind of every moment I take the chance to meet everyone at the USF the desk, and I used to interact with the students, and I used to share my experiences with them, and so I mean, it is a kind of the journey, and from the last I think 2 years with the COVID situation, which I couldn't able to make that in the physical, or we couldn't able to meet. And at USF, it was my interesting journey is that I got admitted directly to the USF, not searching with any other universities, because my professor student, he is a professor in the statistics department, and I was called to a small meeting in the Vizag for a small conference, and he said, "I'm sending my 2 students to the department." And we met him in November, and we got admitted in January. We got I-20 and all those things by February and March, and we joined in the fall with all the the stipend and everything. And then in the first semester itself, we started taking classes as well. Being a master's, we also had the TA, and where we used to teach all the statistics and mathematics. So in the first class, my experience was I was teaching the undergrad students in Indian style. Okay, so that is something like and then my professor came in after the class and said, no, that way is a kind of it is a kind of different way we need to teach in US. And then that is something I always remember the tips and the tricks that I got from my professor, how we need to teach. The Indian teaching style and the US teaching style is slightly different. So that is something I learned, and that is something I do the same thing in India right now. I share my experiences with the college which I worked here, and I used to go to the college and I tell them, so this is a faculty, we have to improve our faculty, the development skills and everything. So I think I see the change from the last 10-15 years in the Indian academic, the teaching style and everything got changed, and we are competing globally, right? So that is something like I always remember. And the still now I love the spot in the USF is the Starbucks in the library. So that is the favorite place in USF, sitting in the library, taking the coffee of the Starbucks. So that is the favorite place, and it's my care of others. And even my friend as well, still he is in the same department. He is working as a visiting faculty, and he's also running the ANV, the curriculum school on the Sundays. And I was the honorary member of that particular Sunday school program where we teach the mathematics and the sciences on Sundays.
Thank you. I also go to the library Starbucks.
Yes.
Before anybody leaves, please, I have one request, and that's that we turn our cameras on, everyone, and that we take a few photographs of this event because it is the official launch. So, Supriya, are you ready to take the photographs?
Yes. So
Okay.
I request everyone to please turn on their cameras. Amay Jain and Vivek Joshi. Yep.
You.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do a few. Okay.
Let me try. Okay. Am I visible?
There
Oh yes.
you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Finally.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We good?
I think we need one more.
Okay.
Just okay.
You have to smile too, Supriya.
Oh. No. Yes, we are good.
Okay. And one more thing, I know, Pragma, you need to go. My suggestion is that in January, we hold another meeting, and that meeting that we discuss vision, mission, just some ground rules, and just start talking about where you want to go from there. So I need all of your help to get people through your personal connections, your friends, your colleagues, former classmates into the USF Network India LinkedIn group so that we have a single platform where we can communicate with you, tell you about upcoming meetings and things like that. But getting everything into that group is my assignment to you. And my assignment for myself is to coordinate your first meeting in January and to have a network leadership guidebook ready for you at that time. Okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you all so very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you,
Srikanth
guys.
has to have his Srikanth hasn't spoken yet.
Yes, I'm going to give him some time now, but I know that some people need to leave, so I just wanted that photograph and to set the plans. But now we can just chat. There's no time limit here.
Yeah, I thought I will be the first one to sleep now that I am still in India, and I thought this meeting is people in India. So otherwise I would have invited some of my friends who are back in US. So I joined USF in 2000 fall and then graduated in 2002. That's when the first Super Bowl happened in the Raymond James Stadium. And of course, even Bush, the president for the election, he was at the Moffitt Cancer Center, and then the 11/9 attacks. So I'm through all those things at the USF. And in my batch, I remember about 40 of us have joined during that fall 2000 from India, from all the states. And fortunately, I'm the first one to get a driving license. I don't know how much time did you take, but I just took 2 hours. And that gave me the teaching assistant job at USF. And I taught my first semester was at St. Petersburg. We had this USF campus at Sarasota as well as in St. Petersburg. I don't know if it is still there. So I had to go there every Thursday. So I have to drive down. And when all of us were there in the kind of line asking for some kind of teaching assistantship or assistantship. So electrical engineering, where most of us are there. I don't know how many are currently there, Supriya. Indians, I think, always are more in the electrical engineering department.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people.
So does anyone of you have a license? So no one has, because it's been about 10 days or 2 weeks that we are there. But fortunately, I was carrying my international driving license, and I immediately went, asked one of my senior friends from Chennai to, he was having a $500 car at that time. So I was lucky enough to drive that to the nearest driving license center, and it was all very fortunate. I mean, I didn't have an appointment, but still one of the earlier appointments got cancelled. So, you know, there were these two levels of examination that one has to go through. A 20-mark thing, 20 questions, and you got to do 15 correct. So the first one is about the theoretical part of how you do and all those things. Somehow I got 15 on 20, so I went to the second level, and then I made 17 out of 20. And then since I am holding the international driving license, I was allowed to take a driving test immediately. And that's also fortunately because one other lady who was given the appointment, she canceled. And immediately I got the driving license. I ran back, and I know the one Dr. Wiley was there, who was assistant dean at that time. So he took me to the whole office. This young man from India has got a license in 2 hours. 2 hours. It was like a miracle for people in US. And immediately they signed my teaching assistantship. I was the first to take that. And of course, immediately I got my car, and then I took that seniors from Chennai to a restaurant, a nearby restaurant on the Fowler Avenue. I remember some Gujarati's restaurant, Taj or something. And so I was paying the bill with a $100 because I didn't hold a credit card by that time. And he was like, hey, give that, I have to see that. What is this? Is it joking or something? He told, I have never seen this $100 bill in the last 1 year. So, and later on, that was so true that even I didn't see that after a couple of months, even till today. So we were only getting that $20 thing. And then, yeah, a lot of other memories, the Ybor city. I worked as a driver. I mean, I just took 10 hours of teaching assistantship, but although I had another opportunity of 10 hours, I had to actually leave it to one of my other friends, my batchmates. And then, so I had other 10 hours left to do a job on the campus. And I did, again, one of the rare jobs that probably the Indians take up there. It's a driving job as usual. And there's this Mothers of Florida Association where they drive down the people who are, like who have drunken enough not to be able to drive back to their houses. So I don't know if that association is still there, and that those kind of jobs are still there. So it's like every day, night, 11 to 3 in the morning is our job. We had to tempo traveler kind of vehicles and all the walkie-talkies. And I'm the only Indian or the Asian in the group. Everyone else is from US. So I'm the driver, and we had this assistant, and we had this kind of license to walk into any bar, in the whole of Ybor city, any movie place, anything. So it was fun. So I did that job as well. So a lot of other memories, and I have many, I mean, almost all my batchmates, they're still working, most of them in US, and some of them, one of my close friends from my own place, we did our undergraduation year together. He's there in Clearwater now. He runs his own company. He's a very successful guy, and many others, even in Florida and the rest of all the states in the US. So next time I will definitely, Vanessa, I'll connect many of them I'll bring them into the network, right? Thank you all.
That would be wonderful. Yes, that's the whole point of having the global network, is bringing people together from everywhere, no matter where they are.
Shrikant now runs a chain of schools, Kennedy schools.
Yes.
Kennedy and next schools.
It's only in Guntur, Shrikant, or it's in?
Yeah,
so,
I'm in
okay.
Guntur and
No, I mean, I have seen your email. Basically, I saw your name in the email, but I couldn't see in the, at least the physical, but I could able to see virtually now. Yeah. Good.
Okay, so we're really up here at the 11 mark. I want to really thank you again, especially our panelists, for taking the time to be here and give me your feedback on this concept. And I really look forward to working with you again, and I hope that all of you will be there at the January meeting. Have a wonderful night if you're in India. Have a wonderful day if you're on in this hemisphere over here. And I'll see you all soon, I hope.
Have a
All
good
right,
weekend.
thank you. Bye.
Sure.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Vanessa.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting everyone again. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye all.